This video is brought to you by Aniba. Stay tuned until later in the video to learn about an amazing website built to enhance your gaming experience.
Ladies and gentlemen, all 40,000 of you, please give it up for RaisorBlade.
Thank you. Oh, I love you too, baby. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Enough. But thank you. Friends, foes, and average Joes alike, I have heard your words and read your request. For 5 long years, people have been asking me to review this particular movie, after I kind of already did about 5 years ago. It was just kind of a brief run through of the film, not a deeper analytical one, because I was actually reviewing its sequel, which we can all agree is hot garbage. So much so, I'm pretending it doesn't exist. But while we all agree that the unnamed sequel was terrible, a lot of people respectfully disagree with my thoughts on the first movie. A movie that I personally grew up with and remember liking a lot as a kid. But then again, there were a lot of movies I liked as a kid that just doesn't hold up for me anymore. I've grown up, and I've learned to see the difference between a movie that holds up as you get older, and one that just deserves to remain in the past. And that's the question we all find ourselves asking whenever we revisit a classic from our childhood. So today, I'm asking it once and for all, does Brother Bear hold up? Was I being too mean in my initial thoughts? Is it actually a great, underrated gem in the Disney library? Is it complete hot garbage even a bear wouldn't snoop around the trash for? Or is it just kind of okay? Let's figure that out today, shall we? In honor of 40,000 subscribers, let's finally review Brother Bear. And piss everybody off, like I always do. Now, let me make one thing clear before we begin. I am not cultured. I don't know anything about Native American tradition or how much it correlates to the story. I know we're in Alaska and we're in the Ice Age with mammoths and stuff, and that's a cool setting and all.
Sex on TV.
As a humble white boy who lives in the state of Kentucky, I'm just gonna focus more on the storytelling elements and what I know best, okay? And I have to say, the first 20-so minutes of this movie are actually really good. Like, that's the thing with this movie. It feels like it was setting itself up as some great coming-of-age story, something along the lines of Prince of Egypt or maybe How to Train Your Dragon. It had a more serious tone than what you'd expect from Disney, including most movies from the Renaissance era. I guess the closest I can think of in terms of tone that this movie is like is either Pocahontas or Hunchback. And fortunately, Brother Bear leans more towards the Hunchback stuff, where it's not afraid to have its characters be characters. I mean, sure, Kenai, Dahi, and Sika are simple characters, but it's enough to where you get the dynamic of them. Kenai is the immature, impatient youngest brother who can't wait to earn his totem and become a man. He's not above stirring up trouble and almost getting his brothers trampled by some caribou or riding a mammoth here and there. He's basically Jackass before Jackass invented itself. Then there's Dahi, who's the middle child who isn't above picking on Kenai whenever it amuses him. At first, he honestly doesn't have a whole lot going on, but he low-key becomes the best character in the movie later on. Then finally, there's Sitka, who's the oldest and most mature. He acts as the guardian of the two brothers, and while he lives to break up their squabbles, he's also there to guide them with his wisdom. In fact, that's literally his totem. You see, in this tribe, whenever someone comes of age, they receive a totem from the spirits to help guide them on their path to manhood. Sika received the Eagle of Guidance, Dahi received the Wolf of Wisdom, and on this day, Kenai received the Bear of Love, a totem that he is not happy to have. He views love as a waste of time and was hoping for something more manly like courage or greatness. And he also thinks bears in general are ruthless monsters and thieves, which is reinforced after a bear steals the fish that Kenai and his brothers caught that morning and he failed to tie up properly. But rather than take responsibility for his mistake, he instead chooses the bear, and yeah, it goes about as well as you'd think. One thing I really do like with this opening is just how down to earth it is. The characters all have a natural bond with each other that feels very real. Again, it's very simple, but it's very effective. These three brothers feel like real brothers. Between their bickering and arguing, and the guidance that Sitka gives Kenai is very strong, and you can tell just how much both Kenai and Dahi look up to him, and it makes what happens next all the more painful when he makes his sacrifice to save them. It's a short but pretty intense fight. It's almost reminiscent of that bear scene from The Fox and the Hound. It's intense, it's chaotic, and while not as cinematic as The Fox and the Hound was, it's nevertheless still very scary, which I always like my kids' movies to be. Then there's that funeral, which is just so sad. The music, the editing, it's just so good at sucking you into the moment. Even though we only knew Sitka for a short time, you can still feel for the brothers' loss. Believe it or not, I actually cared way more about Sitka's death than I ever did about Tadashi in Big Hero 6, and he had more than twice the screen time. And a lot of that comes from just how we see Sitka's death affect the brothers throughout the film. Sure, in Big Hero 6 we see how the death affects Hero, but it's far more impactful here, mainly because while Big Hero 6 gets distracted with being a mid-superhero story, Sitka's death and the brothers' actions are what drive the whole story. When Dahi says, "I don't blame the bear, Kenai," that is such a heavy line with so much meaning to it, and it's up to the audience to decide what that means. Like, is he blaming Kenai? Is he simply acknowledging that the bear did what any animal would do in that situation? Either way, it's perfectly understandable why he'd say that. Kenai did forget to tie that basket up. Instead of just making a new basket, he chose to invade Russia instead. Oops, sorry, wrong movie. And because of his actions, his brothers had to come and save him, and... So, wanting to redeem himself, Kenai decides to kill the bear. Dahi tells him that it won't change anything, but Kenai rejects him, saying that a man wouldn't just sit here and do nothing. He rejects his totem and throws it in the lingering ashes of his brother's funeral pyre before taking off to finish the fight. He tracks down the bear and chases it to a rocky cliffside where we then get another short yet intense fight. I especially love the direction in these sequences. The shaky cam, the close-up angles to show just how big this bear is compared to Kenai. It's really good. Eventually though, Kenai actually succeeds in killing the bear, and we then get probably the best scene in the whole movie, the transformation. Oh my god, I'll be real with you guys, I used to watch this scene on loop all the time when I was a kid. It's just so gorgeous. From the spirit slowly descending onto Kenai, to the water pouring down and covering the rocks, Kenai in his confusion pokes the pillar with a spear, and the spirits just explode out of it. It's just so peak! I especially remember on the DVD that I owned as a kid that there was actually a special feature that went into the making of the song, and we even see this Bulgarian women's choir record the song themselves. And it even had an English translation so you could understand what the song means. So every time I heard this song, I always pictured the words playing over it. Knowing what they were saying just enhanced the experience every time for me. And this was before I even knew about the English cover that Phil Collins had on the album. But come on, who even listens to the English dub? Hearing this song in the native tongue of the tribe that the people in this movie is from is perfect. And it's sadly something the rest of the music in this movie would lack, but we'll get to that. But yeah, this sequence rocks. The music, the animation, Sitka coming down from the heavens and judging his brother as the bear he killed ascends. Sitka picks up Kenai and takes him into the sky, and there he transforms into Brother Bear. He said it! He said it! And it's in that moment where I'm just sitting there going, damn, this is actually really good. It's a brilliant setup for Kenai's story. The animation and music has been so good so far. It feels like this is really going to be an underrated gem. Then the rest of the movie happens. But before we do that, I gotta take a break and play some video games or something. Aw, but games are becoming super expensive now. Aw, where am I gonna find a website built for people who like spending money, but also don't like spending money at the same time? Yeah, I guess you'll do. Aniba.com is the ultimate gaming website built for anyone who wishes to take their gaming experience to the next level, without having to set their wallet on fire. With over 40,000 digital products across all the gaming platforms in the world, Aniba is on its way to becoming the best place for a safe, affordable, and sustainable website for the gamers of today and tomorrow. Aniba offers the hottest deals on everything, from AAA titles like Call of Duty and Elden Ring to smaller indie games like Ark and Gang Beast. Aniba has something for all gamers of all sorts, and if you ever face any issue at all, then fear not. Aniba has a 24-hour customer live service that can aid you at any time. Oh, but it doesn't just stop at gaming. You can also receive gift cards for various other services like DoorDash, Netflix, Spotify, and many others that can be used simply to enhance your everyday experiences. Can't play Minecraft without some food, can ya? Or maybe just listen to your favorite songs while watching Apple TV. Prehistoric plants on there, that's worth the price, trust me. So be sure to head to my link in the description below to begin making your gaming experience cheaper and better than it ever was before. So thank you to Aniba for sponsoring this video. Now where was I? Oh yeah. Can't I just talk about Aniba some more? Yeah, the movie really takes a nosedive in the middle chunk of this film. Basically, the moment the animals start talking, that's when it all goes to shit. One thing I will acknowledge was really cool in this part is that the aspect ratio changed. In the first 24 minutes of the movie, we see the film in 1.751 during Kenai's time as a human. But once he wakes up as a bear, the film then shifts into 2.351, representing the change in perspective that he's going through, which is really cool. And apparently, this is to date the only fully animated Disney movie to ever use the aspect ratio as a storytelling device. Sure, Enchanted did it as well, but that wasn't fully animated. In fact, the only other fully animated movie to do a similar technique like this, I shit you not, was the Simpsons movie back in 2007. Yeah. Sadly though, this pretty bold move wasn't enough to help the rest of the movie. From this point on, the film's tone just shifts so radically to becoming this stupid baby movie with shitty jokes, annoying characters, and modern talk. Oh god, the modern talk. Look, I know Disney likes to implement modern talk a lot in their movies. Like, I know the people in Frozen didn't talk the way they did back in the 1800s or whatever, but usually Disney avoids using modern slang or terms that just date the film. It's the same reason everyone was annoyed at the goat scream in Moana 2, or the Twitter joke in the first Moana movie. Though admittedly not as bad as those, when you hear the animals do pinky swears, and they say words like dude in the Ice Age era, it's kind of weird. I could forgive it if the whole movie was like that, but it wasn't. The first 24 minutes were deep and serious and felt more akin to stuff like The Prince of Egypt or The Lion King, like it really wanted to be one of those great animated epics. It didn't have modern talk. It didn't use slang like dude. Hell, the pinky swear? We actually got something else in the form of this handshake. I don't know what exactly it is. If someone in the comments knows, I'll pin the comment, but it seems way more in line with the culture of the time rather than pinky swearing. Or, oh, how about when the moose total a mammoth? Yeah, because the people of 40,000 years ago would know what it means to total something. It's distracting, especially when the movie was doing so good at being timeless earlier in the film. Speaking of the moose, yeah, I'm just not really a fan of them. I get they're supposed to be the comic relief, but it would probably help if they were actually funny. The only joke they have is being Canadian. That's about it, really. And don't get me wrong, I love a good crack at any country that's not America.
Tell me who our Prime Minister is.
Why?
But this is just kind of nothing. I don't hate the moose on a spiritual level like Jaeger Clade or anything. On the contrary, I don't remember a single thing about the moose. Every single line they say just goes in one ear and out the other. They don't annoy me to high heaven or anything. In fact, I wish they did just so I could have something to say about them. But they're just nothing. I have zero feelings about the moose. They're actually more memorable in the sequel, believe it or not, but only because they took up more screen time and were written even worse there. So that's a backhanded compliment I never thought I'd give on the sequel. It somehow made the moose more memorable. For better or for worse, take that as you will. There's also the songs in this movie which also drop hard in quality, mainly because they stop sounding like they belong in this movie. The first two songs we heard, those being Great Spirits and The Transformation, truly felt like they belong in this movie, or rather the culture and time period. But from here on out, they're just pop songs. Specifically, they're Phil Collins pop songs. You know, because everybody loved the songs in Tarzan. But you can tell exactly why they brought Phil for this movie. That's not to say he's a bad songwriter or was even necessarily a bad choice, because those first two songs were great. Phil did really well at incorporating the culture of the time into the music to really help put us into that time period and into the movie. But for some reason, he stopped doing that halfway through and just started writing these songs like any other generic pop song. It's just acoustic guitars and simple synths like you'd expect from him. Now, granted, most of these songs are fine, save for the very last one, but they just feel so out of place. On My Way is fine enough. It's decently catchy, and I do like how it picks up at the end. But then you have Welcome, which is absurdly poppy, even for this movie. This really feels like it wanted to try and be on the Billboard 200 or something. But even it cannot compare to the sheer, utter awfulness that is No Way Out. This song actually pisses me off because it plays during such a pivotal moment in the movie. And it's made even worse when you find out that they actually animated and voiced the confession and then just chose not to use it. The deleted scene is great. It's emotional, it's impactful. Kenai just comes right out and says, I killed your mom, and it's so good.
Kota, I did something very wrong.
What'd you do, Kenai?
I killed a bear.
I
Kota,
don't like this story.
Kota, your mother's not coming.
No,
I didn't know, Kota.
no.
I swear I didn't know. Kota!
You blew it, man.
You can truly hear the emotion coming out of both actors. It's such a heart-wrenching scene that's utterly ruined by this shitty song. So instead of an emotional, captivating, and well-delivered confession, we just have a song about how Kenai let his brother down. I think he did a little more than just let him down. He straight up made Kota an orphan. The song actively downplays what Kenai had done. It never actually brings up the murder of Kota's mom. It just simply boils down to Kenai somehow knowing that Kota's mom is dead. Yes, it's implied that Kenai told him the truth, but we had the actual scene of him admitting it. Hey, bud, you got that deleted scene?
It's right here, huh?
Show it.
It's
Show
right,
it.
it's right here.
Show it.
It's right here.
Show it.
It's right there.
Sorry if I'm not satisfied with this bullshit half measure. We had greatness right there, and they threw it away.
What a sick joke!
But to be fair, I doubt it would have helped Kota be a better character. In fact, that's probably the film's biggest problem right there. Kota and the blossoming friendship he makes with Kenai never feels truly genuine. It feels more like it just comes out of nowhere because, well, that's the plot of the movie and it's Kenai's character arc, and it just feels lacking all the way through. For starters, Kota is annoying. It's just not fun hearing him be super confident and going on about stories about him and his friends that we never meet or impact the story. A good chunk of his dialogue is pointless, and you can cut it out and it wouldn't make a difference. Compare him to other kid characters from Disney, like Lilo or Louis, where their struggles are actually focused on the entire movie, and what they do to cope with their pain actually ties into the story. But that leads to the other problem with Kota. You see, the whole point of the second act is supposed to be of Kenai and Kota becoming brothers. But there's a lot of things that Kota says about Kenai that we never see.
He does a lot of weird stuff, like the way he drinks water with the leaf. He's never sharpened his claws on a tree. He's never hibernated before.
When did that happen? I don't remember seeing that. Instead of just telling stories about people we never meet, why couldn't the story actually focus on Kota actually teaching Kenai how to be a bear? Not only would it make the relationship between Kota and Kenai feel more natural, but it would make Kota more likable as we actually see the things he talks about be useful. Why not make the whole dynamic between these two be about actually helping each other? We see bits of that here and there, like when Kota helps Kenai out of this bear trap, and Kenai recommends the mammoths so they can lose to Dahi who's following them. But maybe do more of that. Have Kota realize Kenai sucks at being a bear and tries to help him. I can't believe I'm saying this, but do what Brave did.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
Hear me out! Remember that scene in Brave where Merida is teaching her mom how to fish and survive in the wild? Well, just do that, but longer, and with more bear-related stuff. If it makes y'all feel better, Brother Bear is certainly a better movie than Brave is. It certainly takes more risk than Brave did, what with its super safe story. Imagine if in this middle part, instead of just random stories about Beaky and the biggest pine cone ever, have it be kind of like a training montage for Kenai to become a better bear while they travel. And while all that's going on, Kenai is showing Kota all the stuff we saw in the opening, like riding those mammoths, or maybe he'd even share some of Sitka's wisdom with him. That'd be really cool. Instead of a pinky swear, have Kenai and Kota invent their own handshakes, similar to the one we saw earlier. That'd be such a great little touch. Have these two actually teach each other about their worlds. That way, when you think about the words, when you see things through another's eyes from the Transformation song, Kenai is actually doing that. Because for what we got, we don't really get that. It's just generic, run-of-the-mill kiddie adventure crap, and that's about it. Wouldn't it have been cooler if Kota didn't know about the spirits and Kenai taught him about that? In the movie, Kenai simply says he needs to get to where the lights touch the earth. So Kota, being a kid, wouldn't fully understand what that means yet, and this could lead to a bit of tension between the two brothers, as Kenai doesn't want to admit he's a human at this point. Yeah, he told the Moose that he was a man, but they didn't believe him, and then he went and made a fool out of himself shortly after. So it would make sense at this point to just not talk about it with Kota. This would lead to some actual tension between the two of them later on, which leads up to that scene with the cave painting. Another beautiful scene that clashes so hard with the babyish tone in the middle act. Watching Kenai walk up to that painting of the man fighting a bear, he stares at the bear with strong conviction and anger, only for Kota to come up behind him and say,
Those monsters are really scary. Especially with those sticks.
And with one line of dialogue, suddenly the perspective shifts, and the weight of Kenai's actions begin to sink in. For the first time in the movie, Kenai is beginning to wonder if what he did was wrong, and maybe he starts to realize why he was changed in the first place. It's a quiet, yet powerful scene with barely any dialogue necessary. Then the Boston goats show up. Yeah, there's just Boston goats for some reason. I don't get it. They're not funny, and they never show their faces again after this, and this entire scene could have been cut out and no one would have cared. Why the fuck was the confession deemed unworthy, yet this pointless filler scene was left included? Why do the goats have Boston accents? The moose having Canadian accents, that makes sense. There's a bear that speaks Russian later in the movie, and considering there used to be a huge land bridge of ice that connected the two a long time ago, sure. But Boston? Boston? I have to draw the line at Boston. Why are they here? Why are they on the fucking poster when they don't mean jack shit to anything? I don't know how, but these goats actually piss me off more than the goat scream in Moana 2 did. I'm dead serious. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. We can have the most deep, thought-provoking scene on Earth that's immediately followed up by some baby crap that means nothing at all. It breaks the pacing of the film and is just further evidence that Kota and Kenai's bond isn't strong enough to carry the story alone. I'm all for jokes, but at the very least make them funny. That's not to say there's no good jokes at all. I actually really like that one bit where the old lady pretends her husband is dead. That's the best joke in the movie for sure. Shit, that might be the only good joke in the whole movie, honestly. Now, to be fair, not having great humor doesn't kill a movie. Ne Zha 2 was one of the best movies I saw this year, yet it only had like 3 or 4 good jokes in the whole thing. No, what makes this movie a disappointment is just how it's written. I'm not even kidding when I say the only thing that remained consistently good the entire time was Dahi. See, I told you he was the best character. Easily one of the most interesting and nuanced, I want to say antagonist Disney's ever made, but I don't think that really fits because we know he's not a bad guy. He's just having the most understandable crash out that anyone's ever seen. He thinks he's lost everything and it was because of that monster. And yet the movie never shies away from the fact that in the end, he's just confused and at times even wonders what he's doing. Yes, he's an obstacle and he pushes the story forward with his relentless pursuit, so I guess antagonist is the right term, but it almost feels wrong to use it. The moment he discovers Kenai was the bear the whole time, he immediately regrets it. It's that kind of nuance that characters like Callahan and Magnifico were significantly lacking. It's just a shame that the rest of the movie can't seem to keep up with him. Dahi is too good for the movie that he's in, and it seemed the film finally realized that once it remembered, oh that's right, Kenai killed Kota's mom. So, not counting No Way Out, the movie does pick itself back up in the third act. While not as good as it could have been, it does cut the baby jokes finally and starts to resemble what it used to be. I stand by what I said earlier, that No Way Out ruins what could have possibly been the best scene in the movie next to the transformation scene. But, at the very least, we do have the realization scene. The scene where Kota is telling the story of how he got separated from his mom in the first place. There was a scene earlier in the movie where Kota wanted to tell Kenai the story, but Kenai shut him down. You know, because it's too early for him to actually get it. But when the realization comes, it comes hard. The editing, the music, we actually hear Kota's mom's voice for the first time. It's gripping, it's heavy, and it's so good. Kenai has an anxiety attack and runs away. Kota catches up to him, and Kenai decides to tell him the truth.
Everywhere I turn. Shut the fuck up!
So after that nonsense, Kenai goes to the mountain alone where he has one last standoff with Dahi, who was led there by Sika's spirit, and it looks like Dahi is finally going to kill Kenai. Like, for real, Sitka, what did you think would happen here? But just as the final blow is about to come, Kota comes back and saves Kenai. I like how we actually get a callback from earlier in the movie when Kenai killed Kota's mom, and Dahi ends up doing the same thing that Kenai did, only for this time to not work. Dahi realizes his mistake and throws his spear to the ground, and Kenai goes to check on Kota and realizes that he can't leave him alone. Again, adding to the nuance of this film, Kenai deciding to remain a bear is such a genius way to showcase his development. That after going on and on about how bears are monsters, he learned that they, like man, can love too. So he decides to remain a bear so that he can continue to raise Kota and be a brother bear.
He said it!
Oh, and Kota getting to say goodbye to his mom, that was just sweet. I liked that. So Kenai goes on to raise Kota as his own, he's officially made a man, and he probably ends up hooking up with some random bear girl in the woods. Definitely no need for a sequel of any kind. So, what can I say about Brother Bear that hasn't been said already? Well, for me, this is kind of like All Dogs Go to Heaven. I see what people are talking about, and I get why people call this an underrated gem. And for what it's worth, I do think this is a better movie than All Dogs Go to Heaven. The highs are actually pretty high. Some of the best writing and direction that you can expect from Disney. But the lows are pretty darn low too. And that's what kills this movie for me, and a lot of other people as well. The film can't decide for the life of it whether it wants to be this dark, serious, epic coming-of-age story, or just some stupid, simple baby film. Which either one would have been fine, it just needs to choose. The moment Kenai turns into a bear is the exact moment this film just drops so hard. And it's a shame because of all the good stuff that the first 20 minutes had going for it. Sure, every once in a while, a spark of that greatness shows up again here and there, but that only makes the salt in the wound more apparent. But, for what it's worth, this isn't one of the worst movies ever or anything, and I'll even admit, maybe the hate this movie gets is a bit overblown. It's certainly better than a lot of modern Disney movies like Strange World or Moana 2. At least this movie experimented and did stuff that I don't think I've ever seen Disney do before or since then. And I'll take a movie that tries and fails at something new over something that just plays itself embarrassingly safe anytime. So, yeah, would I say I've come around on Brother Bear as a whole? No, I still think this film is a huge disappointment. It had so much going for it, yet it failed so hard to achieve it. I don't want to say the movie misled us. Actually, yeah, the movie misled us. I genuinely thought the film was going to be great, and instead I got...
Fine.
It's like a 5 out of 10 at its worst, and a 6 out of 10 at its best. Anyway, I guess I enjoyed the movie. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible either. I think it's okay. Those are my thoughts on Brother Bear. That's the end of it. Hopefully I finally satiated all those comments who were telling me to give it another chance and that I was wrong. So, all I can say now is, thank you for all of the support and attention that you've been giving me all these years. You guys being subscribers and watching all my stuff really does mean the world to me. It's been an honor and a privilege to have you all here, and I hope you all stick around for what's to come next. So thank you. Thank you, Motorcycle Man, for ruining my ending. And as always, I can't believe I haven't said this in a long time, rock on.
I can't wait to leave this town, 'cause lately I've been feeling down. The cold nights just don't feel the same. Oh